Good day, everybody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. This is the lifeboat, and we're all in this boat together. People, I am not in the cabin, and the reason for that is that this is another one of those subject matters that I think I probably need to stand up for. Every once in a while, that is going to be the case. People, I want to talk to you about the honeymoon. This is something that everybody on this boat has experienced in their life. It doesn't matter whether or not you're a drug addict. It doesn't matter whether or not you've been addicted to anything for that matter. You have experienced the honeymoon. In anything in life, there is a honeymoon stage. As you people start to get sober, and there's a lot of people on this boat that are. If you read through the comment section, I'm 10 days sober, I'm 20 days sober, I'm a month sober, whatever the case may be. As you start to gain sobriety, especially in the beginning, you hit the honeymoon phase. There are some things that happen immediately when you start getting sober. One of them is you start feeling better physically, depending on what the particular drug of choice was. You pick any of them, it doesn't matter much what it is. Let's say methamphetamine. This is a drug that keeps you up for a long period of time. And once you have slept, got enough time sobriety under your belt, you start feeling like your brain is firing better and you start thinking, you can concentrate better. A lot of things happen that are very positive. And you also get some respect from the people around you. Everyone congratulates you. Well done. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. And then that wears off. And what happens, people, is we start finding ourselves in a sort of a postpartum where all of a sudden it just doesn't feel so fantastic anymore. And when that starts to set in, we have been programmed over time that when things stop feeling good, well, we can just buy our way back to the next good feeling. We do that through our drug of choice or our bad habit of choice, whatever the case may be. So people, I want to address what to do when this happens. And as I said, everyone has gone through this regardless of whether or not you're on drugs. I want you to think about falling in love. I want you to think about that person that could be your first love. You remember back in high school what that was like? But that first love or the person that really affected you the most. Do you remember when you first started feeling that and everything was brand new and it was fresh? How did you treat that person? You understand what I'm asking you? When you first fall in love with somebody, how do you treat them? There is nothing that you won't do for that person, right? They are it. It's all encompassing. It's the most important thing in the world. Boy, you think about her before you go to bed, and then you think about her before you get up in the morning or right before anything you do, right? That's the focus. You cannot get that person out of your head. That guy or that gal is just, it's it. It affects you down to your very fiber, and you know what? You're excited about it, right? It's just new and it's fresh. As people start to get to my age, you'll hear people say, boy, I love this girl. It's like, I feel like I'm 17 or 18 again. What they're saying is, I feel like that level of excitement that I had the first time that I tasted love, the first time that affected me, I feel like that again, right? And that feeling is like a drug. It's so fantastic when you fall in love. But we treat that person in a specific way. We want them to see the best of us, and we want them to see it as often as possible, right? You can't walk by a storefront without going, oh, I'd love to buy that for my girl, or my guy would look so good in that, or any number of those things, right? It's everything. So you start spending time together, you start hanging out, and she says, oh, I'm taking my car in. I think there's something wrong with the tire. I'll do that. I'll take the tire off your car. I'll drive it over there. I'll get it fixed. There's nothing you won't do, right? Let me run out back and I'm going to, I'll mow the lawn. I'll do. Fast forward, and is that the same thing? When we watch relationships and marriages start to fail and people start to talk about, well, she's just not the same person. Well, you stopped being that person, right? You choose to be that person when you're in love. I mean, the chemical starts and you start feeling love, but you choose to do anything you can do to make that person happy. If your marriage isn't where it's supposed to be, chances are you stopped doing the things that you did in the beginning. If you're that guy for 80 years, that marriage is always going to be perfect. It is. It'll have up and downs, but it will always be a great marriage. I watched my grandfather do that with my grandmother. He acted as if it was brand new until the day that he died. He would still bring her flowers and he would still write her poems and all of the things that we do when we first fall in love. And you know what? They had a marriage and a love that was epic. People still talk about it. They've been gone for decades and people still talk about just how much they loved one another. It's a choice, right? You say, well, I stopped feeling that way. Yeah, you chose to. You chose to stop feeling that way. People talk about fidelity, right? When you're with somebody and you say, forsaking all others, I'm not going to cheat on this person. I'm not even going to entertain the thought of cheating on that person. Fidelity is not an emotion. It's a choice. It's a choice that you make every single day. I'm not going to look at that person. Not like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to even entertain the thought that I could ever do anything that might jeopardize this relationship that means so much to me. Okay. Now substitute that woman or that man for your sobriety, for your new life. Same thing, right? There's nothing you won't do. Yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to get on the boat and I'm going to watch these videos and I'm not missing a video. I'm not telling you this, people, because I want views. If it's not me, forget the boat for a sec. Meetings. You go into Narcotics Anonymous and I'm catching 6 meetings a week because it's all about my sobriety. And then I'm going to catch 2 meetings a week. And then it's, I don't really need to catch as many meetings, or I don't need to watch Tommy every day, or I don't need to. The things that you did when you were in love with the concept of being sober, right? Watch. I know I'm put this poor guy on the spot constantly, but he's such a great example always of what I'm talking about. Look at Andrew Eats. That man's in love. He is. Look at how that man is in love. Alan Ballantyne is in love with being sober, with being a new creation. They're in love with that. But that's going to become a point at some point where you have to choose that. I promise you, people, I'm in love with my new life. I'm in love with it. I am. People said to me, I got many comments when I was suffering from the C17+2 and it was really bad. People said, man, you don't need to do this. People, I'm in love with this. This is my love. Talking to you, showing you my life. You know, they say, there was a comment from someone that said, you know, when I'm sick, I take showers. I don't film myself in bed dying. Well, you know, we're not living the same life. This is my love. This is my passion. Well, why does the C19 thing? The C19 thing was important because it was a huge affliction that was affecting someone who's trying to not do drugs. Anything epic that happens in the life of somebody who is sober affects the sobriety. If you don't see that, well, then maybe you're not looking at this the exact same way that I am. But to me, it was important to show people that, yes, my entire body hurts. It hurts so bad that it's difficult to film, but I'm going to do it. Because, people, how did I deal with pain for 2.5 decades? Right? Well, this was some of the worst pain that I had, and I can't remember how long. I rated it one day an 8. And I promise you, people, I've never rated anything a 10. Ever. It's never happened. It just hasn't. So that was some of the most painful stuff that I've dealt with in many, many moons. And I did it without dope. That's epic. In my life, that's epic. And I'll be damned if I'm not going to show that, because it is an example of what can be done. I was as bad off as anybody on the planet in my addiction, people. They're still talking about my addiction. I promise you, they're still talking about my addiction because I was that guy. It was heroin. It was heroin before God. It was heroin before family. It was heroin before food. There was nothing in my life more important than that substance. Now there is nothing in my life more important than sobriety. Not just mine, sobriety. I'm in love with it. I'm in love with not only the fact that I'm sober and that I'm a new creation. I'm in love with the fact that I can help people get sober. And I'm doing it. This boat is doing just that. There are individuals on this boat who write comments that say, if it wasn't for this boat, you have any idea what that feels like, people? Well, you're gonna. I promise you. Because you're doing the exact same thing whether you realize it or not. I'm going to, as I told you, I'm going to start doing a captain's choice. And I'm going to start reading comments from people who say, there were things in the comment section that I read that are keeping me sober. People, if that doesn't make you tingle, then you probably ought to read them yourself. Read these comments and realize that you are affecting the lives of people who have been without hope for a long period of time. Fall in love with that. Stay in love with that. People, as the honeymoon period starts to wear off, dedicate yourself to not letting that happen. When people say, I sort of fell out of love. You let yourself fall out of love. For real. If you lose that excitement of being sober, it's because you allowed that to happen. And you saw the other video where I talked about physiology. People, physiology affects how you feel. Emotionally, physically. So if you went from, I'm sober to, watch what happens. Watch what happens. I'm not splitting atoms here, people. I'm not talking because I'm prescient or clairvoyant. I'm telling you things that are based on science. If you stay like this, if you're getting oxygen in and you're excited, when people ask you about sobriety, if you go, I'm 21 days sober. But if you go, I got 21 days, man. I have not done this in 21 days. I'm beating it. I am beating it. You can choose to be excited about your recovery, or you can choose not to be. It's your choice. It is. I can't force you to choose one way or the other. I'm excited about my sobriety. I'm excited about helping people. I'm excited about everything that is going on this boat. The great thing for me is I've got thousands of eyes that are keeping me in check. For real. If I do a video and I look like hammered, you know what? People say, hey, what's wrong? I get comments. Hey, your face is looking thinner. You're losing weight. Hey, I noticed that you're doing this. Hey, you didn't shave yesterday. Right? Every bit of it. So, start getting into the nuts and bolts, people, and they're going to be different for everybody. But we've joked about it in many of my videos, right? Captain Tommy makes his bed. Right? Seems really small and insignificant, doesn't it? For me, it is the first statement of the day that I'm still that new creature, because the old creature didn't do it. You understand? It is my daily affirmation before I walk out of my room in the morning to get my first cup of coffee. I make that bed. And in doing so, I say, you know what, people? I'm still in love with this new life. I am. I don't curse. Because every time I could drop that F-bomb, right, I say to myself, that was that guy. This guy doesn't do that. So in everything that I do, every day, I am rededicating myself to the new creation, the new creature that is your captain. People, I can lead you to water. I'm not going to force your head in it, right? But I would encourage you to stay excited about your mission. And if you're not addicted to drugs and you never have been and you're here just for support, well, then maybe that's your mission. Stay excited about it. Stay as excited about it as you were the first time that you came across this and said, man, this is cool. I can't believe these people are doing this. Like there really is a spot where everybody just supports one another and there's no hate and there's none of that. Man, I love this. Continue to love it. It's a choice. It is. It's a choice. Choose love. Choose happy. Choose sober. Choose excited. Right? Choose all of those things. And really cool things start to happen. I promise you. Give it a try. Right? How old did the old life work? Was it good? Okay, but you tried it for how many years? Right? I tried the worst life you could possibly imagine for a couple of decades. For a couple of decades. So I promise you, I'm going to put in decades of trying the excited, this is awesome approach, and then I'll judge the two. I might not make it as long as I did, but that's okay, because I'm going to go out with a bang. I'm going to go out being that excited guy who the second half of his life was awesome. Awesome. It's going to stay that way, people. I'm choosing to make it a great day. I'm choosing to make that great day a great week, and then a great month, and a great life. You can do it. I promise you. There are going to be some things that pop up here on the bottom, and you know what to do with them because you've been here a long time. You also can subscribe. When you do, little thing's going to pop down, and you can hit the ship's bell. If you do, it's going to give you notifications so you don't miss stuff like this. Don't miss our live feeds or any of that. However, the default setting isn't what you want. Make sure you hit all. And if you hit all, you're going to see all of the videos, right, in theory. So, who am I? I'm your captain, Tommy Scoville. You're on the lifeboat, people. A little excitement, a little love. Let's keep that honeymoon going. And let's get out there and save somebody.